You're like, I'm getting blacked all the way back to New York. And I'm like, it's 9:30. You can do it. Is it 9:30? Yeah, it's 9:40. You can talk all the gay you want. No gay shit. 9:30. There's no gay shit before 9:30. It's not my rule. I don't think there should be a cutoff.
It's Joel's rule.
It's Pranka's rule.
Why don't you show us the drill, Ben?
All right, we're just gonna do the same concept, but do it more. So things have to hold together over a longer period of time. I'll do a couple of examples for you. All right, so that'll be our exercise at the tone. Draw, connect to the pistol. We're quite explicitly not timing your draw. I don't give a shit about the time to first shot. So that means get set on the grip, set all the pressures so you judge that, yeah, my grip is good. That makes sense? You should. We don't want to introduce other errors here that don't need to be there. So again, connect to the pistol the way that I judge is acceptable, index it on the spot on the target. Then it'll be 4 pairs. Pair, 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 pair. As soon as the gun settles down after a pair, I'll fire the next pair. Make sense? All right. If I'm doing everything right or doing everything perfectly, like this is, it's possible, of course, to shoot them into a small group, which I will strive to do, but I'm going to do it at a distance and at a speed where that's basically not really possible. All right. So I gave you 2 different examples when I just did that. The first example, really aggressive posture, elbows out, a lot of tension in my body. Second example, a little more upright and then no tension in my back or shoulders. I was just connected with my hands. Did you see a difference in the shooting?
No.
Took a lot more energy for the first.
Yes. Right. I did a lot more energy, but you're watching the shooting part and you're like, makes no difference. That's the big takeaway here is we want you to hold the gun with just your hands. So between a firm connection with my hands and then a forward weight bias, I don't need to do this, but just shoulders in front of my hips, like that's going to control the gun really well. I don't need to do more than that. And as you're seeing, like the more muscle or whatever that I put into it, it didn't give me a better outcome. Then the more dynamic the shooting is, the more running around and target transitions and that shit, all that tension in my body is going to be very destructive. So that's the first thing, is just do the things with your hands. The tension in your back or your body, like that's going to make it harder. Now, like I said, we're going to do this at a distance, at a speed where it challenges me. What we're planning on doing is shooting a bunch of iterations from the blue cones, the red, the yellow, the green. We'll work our way back. So I'll come on back here and I'm going to do the same thing, right? Same exercise, look at a small spot. All right, let's back up a little bit. Let's go up there. All right, if I really want to challenge myself here, I would back up and go faster. Like I'm going to start shooting this to where it gets a little dirty. You can see I'm not really getting pushed super hard the way it is. But I could shoot a result like this. What would you say the keys to this result are, based on your observations just now?
Consistency.
Yeah, so you saw it was the same every time. Yeah, same grip, same posture. I didn't look different at all, did I? As I backed up, the target starts to appear smaller and smaller and smaller. My temptation is to start staring at that red thing to make it go to the, go to the center, be perfect. But if I fight that and I just stay looking at that little piece of tape and I feel like the red thing is dancing a lot, like relative to small target, the dot's dancing. And I just, nope, it's going to come right back if I just stay fixed on that spot. And then again, you saw how neutral and relaxed my body is. I'm just connected with my hands, looking at that spot. trusting that it'll track back there as long as I don't move the gun around a whole lot. Like, you'd be really shocked how fast and accurate you can shoot these things if you're paying attention to the principles like consistent connection, target focus. All right, Joel,
Well,
how are we going to read these targets? Because I don't think most people's targets aren't going to look like that.
It's kind of infuriating. That's pretty good, dude.
No, I'm just doing that to piss Joel off,
just
guys.
think if you had
it's demoralizing. Joel will never be able to do that.
Never in my life.
Ever.
Not even from 2 yards.
That's
Maybe not even from 1 yard. Okay, so a couple things. Like Ben talked about, as you get farther back from the target, the gun recoils the same amount, whether it's at 5 yards or 500 yards. But how much your sight moves within the target or relative to the target is going to change. At some point, you'll see the sight will be moving more, and it'll be getting higher up on the target, or we get back to, or like the green cones, your sight will go off the target. It'll be really tempting, like Ben said, to start staring at the sight as opposed to staring at your target. It's gonna be a big problem. As you start to stare at the sight, you'll see more rounds track up the target. So we won't pick on anyone, but let's say if this was your target, where's, like, if I just cut the target in quarters and look, where's the bulk of the rounds going? Like, yeah, there's some, wherever, but for the result, you'd be like, hey, for the most part, this would be low left. So it'd be firing hand, pushing down the gun. People intellectually, it's a few different ways. Either they feel the gun's getting ready to kick and they want to push into it to stop that recoil from coming, or they see the sight start to lift, like, don't like that. So they try to push the sight back down once they see the sight start to lift. So a couple different mindsets, but it's gonna be the same outcome. But again, if you just like walk down, look at the targets, be like, what's going on? It's gonna be a little bit different for each person, and depending on how the gun's set up. So for this, it's not terrible, but we'll end up kind of seeing a vertical slash through a lot of people's targets, and that would just be alternating between the two different things I talked about. Looking at the sight, the hits go high into the right, starting to push into the gun. We see the shots go low and left. So it'll be some amount of bouncing between those two. Yeah. Likely, while you're doing the drill, you will bounce between those also, because you'll start to push, like, push on it. No, stop doing that. Then the next thing you know, you're looking at the sight because you don't want to push on the gun. So
yeah. So like I said, we're gonna shoot from 4 lines here. You're gonna shoot like 50 rounds at like each line or whatever, and by the end of it, it shouldn't be necessarily that everything's in the middle. You're just you should understand, yep, as the string goes on, I'm tending to do this thing with my hand, or my support hand's doing this, or I come up and I start staring at the dot, but then I get on the white sticker after a couple of pairs, so then everything centers up, or whatever. You should be able to describe your tendencies and habits very clearly. Does that make sense? It's not so much that you're getting a good outcome, it's that you understand what you're doing.
And we want you to associate cause with effect. So if this is your target, and we see like, yep, you've got some low left going on, there's one down here, hopefully it gets to the point it's so annoying that you feel yourself do that. So if I'm like, Ben, what happened here? It'd be really good if you could be like, it was the third pair, I felt my hand do that, I saw that happen.
Someone else
that would
shot
be good.
my target.
That could happen too.
That's my story.
You've done that to people.
No, I wouldn't do that.
It was so good when you got Hunter. Anyway, so the whole goal is cause with effect. So if you get to the point where you're like, I don't really care that somebody does this, but we would like you to know when you did it and what you did to cause that. Because if you catch on to those things, it'll annoy you. And either you'll stop doing that thing, or you'll just stop shooting altogether. So either way, the problem kind of gets sorted out.
Yeah. Either way, you're gonna quit.
Either way, you're gonna quit. No, so if those little nuances annoy you, that'll go a long way towards fixing it. So we want you to associate cause with effect.
Sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's get to it, guys.